I hear a lot about Mahomes. I hear a lot about, the talent. Okay, Sean Payton said a couple of days ago, that's the best college recruit I've ever seen. He goes, we went down, we flew a private jet to watch him work out, and we literally walked out and said, we got to get out of town and not let anybody see that we were here. This kid's unbelievable. So the first time you started breaking down film, is some of that, does Andy Reid get any credit? Does Tyreek Hill get credit? Or is he just somebody, when you looked at film before he was a star and you thought, oh, Lord, this is transcendent?
Well, I think that the talent jumped off the film. There's no question about that. I think the concern, and I remember having this conversation, Colin, with a lot of coaches at the Combine the year he came out. No one questioned the talent. The concern was in college, he was such a loose, undisciplined player. And that's the way he played. And obviously he made plays that way. But I remember coaches, and again, now it comes down to individual coaches and how they see their offense. But there were coaches who told me, I'm just not sure after I work 16, 18 hours a day and get to Sunday that he's going to run the offense. But no one questioned the talent. The talent jumped off the film.
Yeah. Now, he's also has some really nice components to it.
Yes.
We looked at film there of Tyreek Hill. He blew the Buccaneers up first quarter last game. Is there a way, with all the film you have looked at on the Chiefs over the last couple of years, is there a way to defend Tyreek Hill that has some sustained success?
Well, we've seen teams, for instance, Bill Belichick had had success a number of times where they doubled him. Again, you have to feel comfortable doing that because there's other players. Teams doubled him. I remember one, I can't remember if it was a playoff game or a regular season game where Hill had one catch for 42 yards. Actually, the catch came when he was doubled, but that's all he had in that game because Belichick committed to doubling him. If you go back to week 12 of this year when the Bucs and Chiefs played, there were third down snaps in which Todd Bowles doubled both Hill and Kelsey, because you can double two players. You can't double more than two, but you can double two. So it will be interesting to see if Todd Bowles takes that approach again situationally, because in that game, week 12, everybody talks about Todd Bowles and pressure, Colin, but he did not pressure very much at all in the week 12 game. And by the way, he may not feel like he needs to pressure in the Super Bowl because of the tackle situation for the Chiefs.
You know, yesterday I was asked by one of the companies I work for, pick the score, pick the game, pick the MVP, and my MVP was Honey Badger. And I said, I think the defensive lines will make both quarterbacks uncomfortable, and I think Honey Badger's going to benefit from Brady being uncomfortable with some big plays. I find him to be an incredibly instinctive player. He's always around the ball. How do the Chiefs use him so spectacularly well?
Well, one of the things they do with them, and you will see this, they do it every week, is they're very good with disguise and late movement. And very often when they disguise their coverage and move late, they go to cover two, and Matthew is, in a sense, what we call the middle hole defender or the robber. Normally, we see linebackers in that role as they retreat from the line of scrimmage. But they use Matthew, and he can come from any number of different places due to the disguise, but they use him as essentially the middle hole defender. And you're right, he's very aware, he's very instinctive, and that's a coverage. Cover two out of that disguised looks, out of many disguised looks, is a foundational coverage that the Chiefs will play, and they'll play it quite a bit.
We all know Aaron Donald's great. Often Fletcher Cox's name is conjoined with his, these interior defensive linemen. But I watched Chris Jones the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, I'm not sure he's that far behind anybody. You tell me what the film says on Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones is really, really good, and he's bigger. He's about 6'5", 320 pounds. And I think what you're going to see, and this is something Steve Spagnuolo is very good at, is based on his multiple front looks, he's going to create one-on-ones for Chris Jones against offensive guards. And that, to me, is a potential favorable matchup. It is a favorable matchup for the Chiefs because the interior of the Bucs O-line has been a little erratic throughout the season. And Spags is very good with his use of linebackers, creeping them up on the line of scrimmage, forcing them to be accounted for in the protection, and that creates one-on-ones for Chris Jones against guards and at times centers, and that's a positive for the Chiefs.
Let's talk Brady now. We talked Mahomes earlier. You're based on how the Kansas City Chiefs play defense. Who do you suspect will be Tom's favorite target in this game, or who has it been over the last month or so?
I would look, and again, it's hard to know who's going to be the volume target, but I think Cameron Brate is someone to look at in this game. It would not surprise me to see the Bucks play a lot with two tight ends and try to limit the pressures of the Chiefs. Because one thing we've known about Steve Spagnuolo since he's been in Kansas City, and he did it week 12 against Brady, is he blitzes. I mean, the first two third downs of that week 12 game, he came with zero blitz. He is going to attack. And Brady is not a post-snap player in terms of movement. Brady normally wins before the snap of the ball. So I would expect to see some 12 personnel. I would expect to see Cameron Brate perhaps be a factor. And again, maybe not a volume receiver, but a factor as a receiver.
It's so interesting. Tom went from no targets or no weapons in New England to a surplus. I mean, I'm watching these highlights of Ronald Jones, and he's a spectacular running back. As you watch the season, there was some turbulence in this season, but was there a moment in this season where you felt, watching the film, Tom's now, it's more rote. He now feels comfortable. He's not thinking back there. Was there a moment he got, he went 0 to 60. He went no weapons to 8. Is there a moment to you it kind of hit for him?
Well, I think what happened, Colin, is he had to get comfortable with the fact that there were more deep drops, more intermediate and vertical routes. That was not the foundation of the Patriots offense, certainly not since the Randy Moss era, and that was a long time ago. And that was only a couple of years. He was used to getting the ball out quick. He was used to choice routes, option routes, pivot routes, whip routes, things where the ball came out quick. He had to get used to a different kind of offensive approach. And by the way, when you throw the ball further down the field, obviously your protection has to be better. And so he had to get used to that as well, because he got hit a bit more this year. There were games where the offensive line was not real strong. Look, even in games in which they win, the Packers hit him a lot in the NFC Championship game. So I think he just had to get used to a different style, a different approach, and the fact that the ball was not going to get out as quick.
I want to go to your big play of the week. These two teams played in week 12. Take us to your big play, the design, the schematics of it.
Well, let's just start with the fact that I mentioned that they'll have to handle blitz. But obviously the Chiefs will not blitz on every snap. And when they don't blitz, I think that's when you have to be able to make some big plays in the passing game. And I mentioned the 12 personnel, meaning one back and two tight ends. I think you'll see that. So let's go to this play. This was a 48-yard completion to Rob Gronkowski, who has not been a big factor in the passing game since this game.
Yeah.
But this play was very interesting because, as I said, it came against zone coverage with no blitz. And what you're going to see here is Tom Brady under center, and he still plays under center. And this is going to be what we call a flood concept, a 3-level stretch. Mike Evans will run the vertical route. Rob Gronkowski will run the intermediate route from the other side, a crosser. And Leonard Fournette from the backfield will run a flat route. And it's 3 levels, short, intermediate, deep. It's a flood concept. The Chiefs run it a lot, by the way. And what you're going to see is the two safeties here, they will spin. Matthew will go more into the deep middle, and Sorensen will drop and essentially become a flat defender in cover 3. So watch Gronkowski. He gets a free release, and he's going to run his crossing route. Now what happens here is Evans lifts the corner, because the corner in cover 3 has to run with Evans. So he lifts the corner. And then you have Sorensen, who's going to play in the flat. And his eyes are certainly not on the other side of the formation for Gronkowski running the crosser. So it's beautifully designed. This is a cover 3 beater concept. It's a great route against cover 3. It's a great route against cover 4 as well. But it's a zone beater. And it'll be interesting to see if they can attack when they get zone coverage without blitz.
Greg Cosell, 40 years plus at NFL Films. Can't wait. Good talking to you, Greg.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that Week 12 game, we were just watching the highlights. There were a lot of big plays in that game. There were a lot of spectacular plays. If you just take these two teams, and if you made a Pro Bowl team, just an offensive Pro Bowl team out of these teams, it could take on any Pro Bowl team in the league. I mean, seriously. Your wide receivers would be Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown,
Chris Godwin.
And then you go tight end, you'd go Travis Kelce. Your blocking tight end would be Gronk. Brady'd be your backup quarterback. Your running backs would be, I mean, it's just hilarious.
Their offensive lines.
I mean, it's just we got the right two teams here. That's my point. We got the right two teams. I'm watching these highlights, and I'm like, God, the talent is insane. Ronald Jones, he's like a forgotten guy. He's been unbelievable when he's healthy for Tampa this year. Stephon Diggs will show up today. Ryan Fitzpatrick of Miami's here. So is Russell Wilson. Everybody knows that Valentine's is not just about the day. It's a wow factor. Make it count. How about this? Roses always work at 1-800-Flowers right now. Right now, 18 red roses, $39.99. Or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Bouquets are limited. Lock in your order today. Always picked fresh, shipped overnight, ensure freshness. Real easy this time. 18 red roses for $39.99.